When people found out that some Pokemon were going to be absent from Sword and Shield, there was a lot of backlash. Gotta catch them all is the franchise slogan after all, and you've always been able to catch them all, right? To give this question a bit of backstory, last year I finally decided to complete the Pokédex, hoping that maybe if I caught 1,000 new friends, it would help me forget about all the real ones that I didn't have. And shortly after I was done collecting them all, Pokemon Home added a feature that let you easily see which Pokemon have your own trainer ID. This meant that I could see all the ones that I traded for, all the ones I got as gifts, and all the ones that I basically stole off of cartridges I found on eBay. And after seeing some of the gaps, it made me wonder if I actually could collect them all, as in, not just obtaining them with my own ID, but actually catching them all, the way nature and or God intended. So for the sake of this video, let's set some ground rules first. If it's going to count for this list, you have to be able to catch it. That means no breeding, no gifts, no trading, no evolving, and if you aren't throwing a ball at it, it just doesn't count. I'm also going to put in a few special exceptions for Pokemon that you can't get right now, but you could previously with certain events or distributions, and I'm only going to bring up Go as a last resort. Because Go does events in real time, there are some things that are only available for certain times, some things that come and go, some things that are gone that could come back later. I'm just going to avoid it and I'll only bring it up if necessary. Alright, with that out the way, let's get started. Immediately we run into a problem. Starter Pokemon in the original games are not caught, your local professor gives one to you, because apparently 90% of research in the Pokemon world is just giving animals to children and seeing what happens. Fortunately, later games have become more lax about starter Pokemon existing in the wild. Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle can all be found in Let's Go, their second stages can be found in Dynamax Adventures, and their final forms all exist in the form of raids, as well as Charizard just being everywhere in Let's Go. Alright, that's 9 down and 896 to go. Yeah, this is going to take a while. Just to speed this up, I'm only going to stop and talk about the ones that are unavailable or only available through weird specific means. Thanks to Sword and Shield, most Pokemon that require trade evolutions or items to evolve are available in the wild or in raid dens. Surprisingly, out of all the Kanto decks, Golem is the only one to not make the cut so far. Since it got removed from the national decks, you can't find it anywhere in Sword and Shield, and before then it just hasn't been available in the wild. Thanks to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, pretty much all other Kanto Pokemon can be found, and the ones that aren't in that game are available in Sword and Shield. Which leaves us with the first mythical Pokemon, Mew. Mythical is going to be the most interesting to talk about in this topic, because quite a few actually do make the cut. Mew has been given out many times over the years, and now there's even a way to get one without any limited time events. By talking to the old couple in Thromo Town, they'll just hand you one if you've got save data from Pokemon Let's Go. Why do you have this? This Mew even gets your own trainer ID, but since we didn't actually catch it, it doesn't count. Or at least not this Mew. If you want to catch one for yourself, you're going to have to go all the way back to Generation 3, and also to Japan. The old sea map is an item that was given out in Emerald, and it lets you sail to an island and catch Mew for yourself. However, this wasn't distributed in English cartridges in any way, but you can still glitch or hack your way to the islands and catch a Mew, but it won't be considered legal, and I don't think you can even transfer it into Home if it's not Japanese. It is still possible to get Mew if you play Pokemon Go and finish a quest line that's given to every player, and you do get to catch it for yourself, so it would count for this, but for now Mew is going to be kept as a special exception. Moving on to Generation 2, and the starters that seem to get the least love of all, honestly. While banned from Sword and Shield, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile can be caught with the Island Scan feature in Sun and Moon, but for their second stages you're going to need to go all the way back to Pokemon Colosseum where they can be caught as Shadow Pokemon. Meganium and Feraligatr are unavailable elsewhere, but Typhlosion can be caught in Legends Arceus. Porygon 2, a personal favourite of mine, also managed to make this list thanks to Legends Arceus. And the only other notable mentions for this generation are Jumpluff and Sunflora. Jumpluff just manages to scrape by because it's available in the Heart Gold and Soul Silver Safari Zone, and Sunflora is available both as a Shadow Pokemon and in Rustling Grass in Generation 5. Finally, we get to Celebi. Celebi could originally be caught using an event item given away in Generation 2 in Japan, but with the Virtual Console release of Crystal, you can get this item after beating the Elite Four, making Celebi one of the few mythicals that can be caught without any online event or limited time distribution. And with that out of the way, there's actually only one other Johto Pokemon that we can't obtain, which is Ampharos. For such a fan favourite, it's surprisingly hard to get one. Even Flaffy is hard to find in the wild, being unavailable to catch since Generation 4. On to Generation 3 starters, all of them can be found underground. Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip in the Sinnoh Grand Underground, and all of their evolved forms in the Galar Max Lair. Slacking and Delcatty are some of the rarest encounters so far, only being found in occasional rustling grass as a 5% encounter in certain areas, although Delcatty can also be grabbed as a shadow in Gales of Darkness. Cast form is originally earned as a gift from the Weather Institute, but it can also show up randomly to assist when there's strong weather in Sun and Moon. Actually, now that I look at it, you can catch almost every Hoenn Pokemon. Metagross and Salamence can be found without raid battles if you know where to look. That just leaves the mythical Pokemon. Deoxys was originally available on Birth Island with a special event ticket, and an homage to this event can be found in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire's Delta episode, which lets you capture Deoxys without the need for an event. Meaning Jirachi is the only one we can't get. It's available in Go if you put in the effort to catch Mew and Celebi first, but aside from this, there's never been a way to actually battle and catch Jirachi for yourself. This makes Jirachi our 5th unobtainable Pokemon outside of Go, but we'll actually come back to these 5 later. Next, we have the Sinnoh starters. Their first stages can all be found in the Grand Underground, and their second stages can be found with the Island Scanner. Their final forms were unobtainable, but once again, Legends Arceus has made them available just this week, along with Staraptor, Wormadam, Mothim, Porygon Z, and Probopass. As for Mismagius, Honchkrow, and Gliscor, they're all pretty rare, but can be obtained in Unova's Rustling Grass. Now, you might have noticed I haven't mentioned any fossil Pokemon yet. Normally fossil Pokemon are revived from fossils and then technically given to you as a gift, so you don't catch them, but with the introduction of the Crown Tundra DLC, most of them can be caught in the wild now. Cranados and Shieldon, however, are still missing from the national dex, so you can't get them this way. Currently the only way to get them and their evolutions is by evolving and reviving fossils, or of course by finding them in Pokemon Go. If you want them any other way, it's going to be in your dreams, sadly. For those who didn't know, there was an online game called the Pokemon Dream World back in the early 2010s. It was a browser-based game that let you befriend Pokemon and send items back to your Generation 5 games. I personally never got a chance to use it because I'd never figured out how to sign up and connect my game, and sadly it got shut down a few years later. But if you met any Pokemon in the Dream World and sent them back to your game, they would appear in the entry forest, which you would then be able to catch them with any ball of your choosing. And lucky for us, Shieldon and Cranados were available in the Dream World. Of course, there's no way to actually access this service anymore, but if you did send one of these Pokemon to your entry forest, it will still be there if you never went to catch it. Interestingly, this is also the only way outside of Go to get one of these Pokemon outside of a regular Pokeball, meaning that if there are any Shieldon or Cranados out there with unique Pokeballs, they would be descended from one of these original Dream World fossils. As for Rampardos and Bastiodon, I know Bastiodon has appeared in Go raids before, but I can't say the same for Rampardos, making it the first on the list that I don't think can be caught in any way whatsoever. Rounding off the Sinnoh decks as usual, we have Legendaries and Mythicals. Darkrai and Shaymin both had events that let you catch them in Diamond, Pearl and Platinum, and those events have been found coded into the recent remakes, so as of this video there is a high chance you'll be able to catch them in the near future. However, they can also be caught in Legends if you have save data from other games. Manaphy and Fion have also only been available from eggs or distributions in the past, but both of these are also apparently available in Legends. And finally, we have Arceus themselves. Sadly, I did have this spoiled for me, but yes, Arceus can be obtained in Legends, however it's kind of a grey area in terms of actually catching it. You do have to battle it first, but Arceus just decides to join your party after the battle ends, you don't actually have to catch it. But for the sake of this list, I'm gonna say it counts. Since the Hall of Origin event has never been legally distributed, and the one in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl has been data mined but isn't complete, right now it's the closest thing we have to actually catching Arceus. Just cutting in here as a side note, I'm putting this video together and I just found out Arceus was also given away in the Dream World as an event, so you could also catch it that way for a limited time. Next is the Unova Dex, which actually starts with a mythical for a change. Victini was available to catch very early in Black and White with a special event ticket, but has been unavailable since then, not counting its special appearance in Pokemon Go. As for the starters, Superior, Emboar and Samurott can be found with the Island Scan, but their evolved forms are unobtainable, aside from Oshawott and Duard that appear in Legends. And aside from them, there's actually not much to talk about. While Caracosta can be found in the Crown Tundra, Arceus can't, making it the second entry in our Can't Be Caught list. You also can't catch Simisage, Simisear or Simipour, making them the first Pokemon on the Can't Catch list that aren't fossils. And as for the last 3 Mythicals of Generation 5, Meloetta was the feature of last year's Go Fest, and Genesect comes and goes as a raid boss, but neither have my way to catch them in the core games, except for Keldeo. As a sort of Easter egg in the Crown Tundra, it's possible to spawn a Keldeo that can then be caught. Like most of the other starters, the final forms of the Kalos starters can be found with the Island Scanner, but their second stages are a little harder to find. In X and Y, the Safari Zone equivalent is called the Friend Safari. You can choose a friend on your 3DS friend list and find 3 Pokemon of a certain type based on their friend code. Braixen, Frogadier and Quilladin can be found in the Fire, Water and Grass Safaris, but only as the 3rd Pokemon. The first 2 Pokemon in a friend safari can be accessed with any friend, but if you want to see the 3rd ones, that friend has to enter the Hall of Fame first, and then you both need to be online at the same time for it to register in your safari. And even then, it's only a 50-50 chance whether a Grass, Fire or Water Safari will have those 3 as their selected Pokemon. It's tricky but not impossible, and there is a subreddit dedicated to friend safari codes that makes it a little bit easier. The first stages, however, remain uncatchable outside of Go. Vivillon is another interesting one. I haven't bothered talking about individual forms in this video because that's a whole separate topic, but you can find a Vivillon of your region-specific pattern in the friend safari. Up next is Florges, which doesn't appear anywhere in the wild. As of right now, Flabebe is rumoured to be arriving in Go for Valentine's Day, but there's no guarantee Florges will be available to catch. As for mythical Pokemon, Hoopa did appear recently in Go, but Diancie and Volcanion are yet to make an appearance, making them surprisingly the first mythicals so far that can't be caught in any means. Now for the Alola starters. All three of them were briefly available in their base forms for a raid event in Sword and Shield, but otherwise the Litten and Popplio lines are unobtainable, with Rowlet, Dartrix and Decidueye being catchable in Legends. Type Null and Cosmog are also only available as gifts, making them the only legendary Pokemon that you can't catch. Silvally similarly is only available by evolving, as is Cosmoem. In the same vein, Poipole and its evolution are the only Ultra Beasts that you can't catch, with Poipole only being available as a gift and its evolution only available by evolving. Zeraora did make an appearance in raids briefly, but you weren't allowed to catch it, only fight it, and both Magina and Marshadow have remained as event exclusives as well. And aside from all the legendaries and starters I've just listed, Crabominable is the only Alolan Pokemon left that you can't normally catch. As for Meltan and Melmetal, they made their debut in Pokemon Go, so their place on this list is a little bit weird. Meltan can only be caught in Go, but you can freely catch them anytime you want. Transferring Pokemon into Let's Go or Pokemon Home unlocks a box that can be opened every few days, and doing so makes Meltan spawn for an hour. Melmetal cannot be caught, and Meltan can only evolve into Melmetal in Pokemon Go. However, you can catch your Melmetal after evolving it, by trading it into Let's Go and recapturing it in the park that replaces the Safari Zone. Since Go is the only way to get Meltan and Melmetal anyway, and you can freely do it at any time, I'm going to say this counts as the method for catching them. And now onto the final generation. As far as I can tell, there is no way to catch any of the starters in any form. Chances are they'll appear in a future game, but for now it's not possible. And aside from that, there's not much more to say. Almost everything else can be caught, even the fossils which can be found in a Crown Tundra raid den. The only three left are Kubfu, Urshifu and Zarude. Kubfu is a gift, Urshifu can only evolve in the special towers, and Zarude was available in Go for a short time, but is otherwise a standard gift mythical. If you want to be really technical, you don't actually catch Glastria or Spectria, you catch Calyrex who is riding them, but you get them after infusing the two of them, so I'll allow it. And that's it really. 6 that can only be caught for a limited time, 17 that can only be caught in Go, 21 if you count Mew, Cranidos, Shieldon and Victini, and 33 that absolutely cannot be caught, leaving us with a grand total of 842 Pokemon that can in fact be caught. When I first had the idea of making this list, I knew that if I allowed evolutions and breeding to count, it would be kind of a short one. I'd only have mythicals and legendaries to talk about, and that wouldn't be very interesting really. But now that I've done this all, I'm kind of surprised at how small the list is anyway. There are a lot of picks that I didn't expect would be unavailable, and learning about the Dream World and how it made Cranidos and Shieldon unavailable was kind of interesting to me. And I know there are a few new Pokemon in Legends Arceus, but I'm not going to spoil that much for you or for myself. I can say I know at least 2 of them can be caught, but the rest I'll leave for other people to figure out. I do have one final trivia to cap out this video though. Remember when I said we'd be coming back to these 5 Pokemon? If we want to be very technical, there is a way to catch them. When you make a transfer from Generation 3 into Generation 4, you do it by taking part in a catching show. You take the 6 Pokemon you want to transfer, and then you go out into the small area of grass and water to find them and then catch them. This doesn't change their ID, and they do remain in the balls they were originally caught in, but you're still kind of catching them. And while Jirachi is a mythical that's usually unobtainable, I only said that you couldn't catch it before. There is still a way to get one in Generation 3. If you can track down the bonus disc from Pokemon Colosseum or a copy of the Pokemon channel, you can claim a free Jirachi in your Generation 3 game, which can then be traded forward into the catching show. There is also a similar minigame in Generation 5 for transferring Pokemon, but in that one you're launching balls with the crossbow as your Pokemon hide in the bushes and cower in fear, so that's kind of stretching the definition of catching for me. I've never actually done a video like this before, but I had a lot of fun researching it and planning it all out, so if you like seeing something like this, like, subscribe, comment, all that usual YouTuber crap. Yeah, I don't know how to end videos. Okay, so I'm literally editing the video together now, and it turns out I'm stupid because you can get Cranidos and Shieldon in Legends Arceus. Which means my entire segment about the Dream World is just entirely outdated information, but I'm not going to cut it because I thought it was way too interesting, and I'm just going to add this bit onto the end to clarify that these two can be got in Legends Arceus.